I see you. I thought I had that. Sorry.
Yeah, get a little feedback. So how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are
You
you?
good? I'm all right. Yeah. So you see what the topic is tonight, right? It's let's talk about why it's hard to get our kids back on track once the street get a hold of them.
Oh boy.
You want to shed a little light on that?
Well, my thing is that um sorry, I'm still getting reverb.
You might have to mute the other thing that you got.
I tried, but I had it turned all the way down, but I can
Right.
still
Oh,
hear it come out, so I'm not gonna worry about it right now.
okay.
Um, so one of the things that I can honestly say is you can do everything right as a parent, and your kids still can veer off in a different direction.
Right.
Um, my cousin, rest his soul, um, was raised by for more or less good parents. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my cousin. He was actually my second cousin.
Right.
Um, and his mom. You know, um, our family on my mom's side, we're very religious. Not religious, but we're in the church, spiritual, things like that. So we basically know right from wrong. Okay.
Right. Right.
Um, but for the most part, my second cousin was basically in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Mm-hmm.
and so for the most part, he was murdered by a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, you can impart all of the good things that you can in your child, but if you can't really, like said on Sunday, if you can't get into their head, so they're thinking the way you need them to think,
Mm-hmm.
then that's typically what happens. You know,
Right.
um, they see, and the other thing that we were talking about was the fact that their friends have permissive parents,
Mm-hmm.
and so you know sometimes, um, how did my friend put it? He says, if you want to live the easy life, do the hard things. If you want to live a hard life, do the easy things.
Right.
And so, a lot of kids don't realize, that those easy things, easy money, easy everything, comes with a price.
Right.
And if you can't make them see that, then that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thankfully, I'm not there yet.
Shit. But I done experienced all that. But it's like no matter what you tell these kids, like they still ain't gonna listen to nothing that you say. Like I got a 16-year-old right now. He hard headed.
Of course, he
He want
is.
to do what he want to do. He want to leave out his mama house 11 o'clock at night, and I'm getting phone calls telling me to talk to him, and I keep talking to him, and I'm trying to tell him. I say, you don't know what you rushing out there. You talking about a girl and some boy? You could be rushing your dad, boy. You don't even know where you going.
Oh gosh,
And
um,
I'm talking to him. It's like he still ain't it still ain't registered in his head.
that's because there's a disconnect. Unfortunately, you can do, like I said, you being on one side and your mom and whatever she's doing over there on the other side. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the reason she gets you to talk to him is because she can't talk to him because for a long time she didn't talk to him. Does that make any sense?
Mm, it was. I had him. I had him in check, but once it's like whatever the
It's all
situation is, whatever between me and her, whatever, she decided she wanted to do what she wanted to do, and then now it's coming, turning back, and it's coming to bite her in the ass now.
well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, I hate to bring this up, but it actually fits the situation. It's like
I'm
potty
bringing
training.
in, I'm bringing in a third viewer.
Okay.
Welcome to Be Yourself podcast and keeping it real. Can you hear me
Correct.
talk? Yeah, how you
Yeah, I can
doing?
talk, cuz. What's going on, cuz?
Hey, hey, nothing. How you doing? We was on here talking about the topic was a night is about why it's hard to get our kids back on track once the street get a hold of them.
Oh, hey. Hard knocks. I sent him back home. Fucking life with
Look,
good
look,
life with education.
look,
We get a
look,
lot of
look.
static from you, cuz.
Yeah, we got a lot of static. I was gonna say, just next time at me, okay?
We got a lot of static coming in, cuz, from your phone or whatever you on.
I don't know what's going on with my camera,
Okay, it's
but
static. Still static.
uh,
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
yes.
What you got your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah.
Okay, now I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you a little good. It coming back again. What you on a
Is that
computer or you on
better?
the phone? You on a computer or a phone?
I'm on the phone. On the
Or it's
phone.
still static a little bit.
Still static, huh?
Is your phone
Hmm.
connected to
Mm-hmm.
the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I can change that.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say because um, sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't as strong as the actual phone signal.
Hmm.
I used to work at a at a hospital, and the pharmacy was in the basement, and
Uh-huh.
so that's where we worked at. You know, because they had a temporary place, and so
Yeah.
anytime we got a phone call, it was so um, staticky
Right.
until we took our phones off the Wi-Fi.
So you got the
But
right cup?
um,
I guess he's trying to fix it right now.
probably what I was saying was that it's you got to be consistent. It's like potty training.
Right.
You can't have one system in your home and your kids' grandparents have a system in their home and they're not the same.
Right. Everybody got to
So
be on the same page.
everybody's got to be on the same page.
And that was the problem. That's the problem. When I was trying to get it to be on the same page, nobody didn't want to do it on the same page. But now when the situation gets so bad, now everybody, now you need my help now.
Yeah. Um, uh, basically, if
Can I hear
I,
you? 1 second. Cuz, you can say something?
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah,
oh
that's
my
better
God,
now. Okay.
yes,
Okay. Okay. I'm
Okay. So
listening.
you okay. So, when I try to co-parent and try to tell her, like, listen, we gotta be on the same page when it comes to him, right?
right.
I tell her one thing, she do the opposite. So now it done got out of hand. Now you need me to help you to get it back in line. You know what I mean? So now, I talk to him every day and I try, I call him probably every other day, and say what's going on or whatever. It's like it's hard to instill it in his head that you have to, listen to your parents. You know what I mean? Because nowadays, kids your age, like around in the age, like in the young ages, it's like some eat them up. The streets eat them up.
Oh yeah,
You understand what
definitely.
I'm saying?
Yes. Well,
Eat them
see,
up.
and just like I was saying on Sunday,
Hmm.
whereas um, you have to get into their heads.
Right.
And even if you and her don't get along, you have to have the same philosophy when it comes to raising kids.
Right.
Um, so that and honestly, I've never talked bad about my ex-husband if
Hmm.
it wasn't true. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But one of the things that I can always tell people that even if we couldn't get along as a couple, he's an excellent father.
Right.
He and I basically had the same philosophy when it came to raising kids, and for the most part, he was actually benefiting from all the things that I did. So he
Right.
got lucky. He got lucky. Um, but yeah, it, you got to be careful who you stick your dick
That too.
in. Oh, hey,
that's a,
believe me,
that's a plus. But at the same time, though, we don't be knowing these females be like that because that's
exactly.
that's a cover. It's like they
Right.
hide something to when that shit happen. That's when
My bro-
all the shit come out. You know what I mean?
my brother, my cousin passed away last year. He got into something like that. One of my other cousins had an issue like that. It's like they and that is why I always had a philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're digressing a little bit, but this actually will help your son eventually. Um, Dating is the process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not dating to find the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Okay.
Right.
You have to date enough people
Right.
to know what you like, what you won't like. And as you get older, I'm not saying you're going to wait until you get 90 to marry. Okay. But as you get older, you start honing your discernment. And then dating just becomes like this because it's like, oh, yeah, you chew with your mouth open. No, we can't go. Sorry.
Right.
You can get rid of them faster. And by the time you are ready to do that whole settling down thing,
Right.
you've probably gotten rid of like 90% of the people that would have been like your baby mama
Right.
because you would know.
Right.
After a while, you would automatically know. Uh, you would be able to see the red flags a lot faster the more
Right.
you date.
Right.
But this is the other thing that I was talking about having a positive male role model. Um, it's kind of hard because now how old you see he's a teenager, right?
16. But they ain't the only one. I got two of them that's knuckleheads, that's hard headed.
Now, here's
Yeah.
the thing. There's your first problem. And I'm not and trust and believe, I used to do this too. But one of the things I always said is that your voice is their thoughts.
Yeah.
Children are not inherently bad. They just do bad things.
It's be the friend, it be the company that they keep though. Cause those
True,
kids, that's
true.
the peer pressure that they, you know what I mean, when they go to school and they trying to run with the wrong crowd and stuff like that.
Right. But see,
And
the
then
thing
once
about it is that when you call them knuckleheads, when you call them dingbats, you call them idiots, that sticks in their heads. And
right,
so that's what's going on in their head. So they're like, okay, well, if I'm just a dingbat, I can't do anything right. I might as well just not do it.
right,
And the only reason I can say that is because it was in my head.
right,
Okay. This is stuff that I learned growing up. I'm
uh-huh,
Generation X. I was a
right,
latchkey kid with
uh-huh.
ADHD who lost her key all the time.
Mhm.
But that's the whole thing, like I said, you are your kid's first television.
Right,
And everything you say becomes, anything that you say to them with regards to what they're doing, how they're doing, because they think they're right all the time until you tell them they're
yeah,
wrong. And then
yeah,
it's like,
right. They always think they know more than you know what I mean? When you've been here before them, well, they had like they've been here before you got here. You
right.
understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
But that also
um,
goes down. That also goes down to telling them why,
right,
the whole whys. So if they don't
right,
know, oh, maybe I shouldn't cross the street against the light, they're gonna do it and try to find out.
right. what
What's
you
his
what you
name?
yeah, B Mac, what you get on that?
Well, I'm gonna say a couple of things here. Um, First one, many of the points that the young lady mentioned there, but not that. It
Right.
doesn't apply to
Oh no,
all
nothing's
kids.
ever. Yeah, right. Nothing's ever absolute anyway.
And also, um, speaking from my own experience, I'm a I'm a tail end of the baby boom. To give you a point of reference, and also 62 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Another point about me, I have never been in the streets. Um, I raised up Overtown, Liberty City, Polka Bean projects. I have lived in the streets.
I remember
I
that.
know
That's
what's
when the
going
poker beans was.
on in the streets.
Yes.
Mhm.
I know what's going on in the streets, and I know that my examples for as role models were leaders. They did what out there in the streets, but they were leaders, and they taught me to be leaders. And they taught me to be strong.
Right.
And I was wise enough to know that how to learn from someone else's. So I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
mistakes.
Cuz what you got on a
Whole
headset or
lot.
something?
I'm a graduate. Say it again.
What you got on a headset or something? Why getting feedback?
Are you getting some feedback now?
Yeah, we got that,
Uh,
that that
I hear like a little staticky. Like I don't know if you
yeah.
got something that's right by it or something like that. That's pulling a lot of current or something like that.
Okay. How about now? Still get feedback?
Yeah, it still got a little feedback. Yeah.
I'm
What you on the phone or you on an iPad or something?
I'm on the phone.
You ain't got an iPad?
Or a
Yeah.
laptop.
I
Or
got
a
a
laptop.
laptop.
Okay, well you go
You
on the
want me
laptop.
laptop?
That'll be better. Yeah, that'll be better because you know the staticky real bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
every time you say
okay.
something,
Some every time you say something, it
yeah,
gives
every
us a
time you
bad
say
feedback.
Okay. Okay. Well.
like a
Well.
CB radio.
I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna drop, and then I'll come back. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but like
Yeah, and
like
he's right.
take yeah,
He's right. He's right. Like I said, you can do everything right. And the chances that are slim that your kid would hit the streets, but it's never zero.
right. I'm saying them kids, man, no matter what you tell them to do, they still don't listen. Like I had mine tell me the other day, who he talking about, oh, I ain't never do nothing for him. I said, I ain't do nothing for you. I said, who how you think you had clothes to wear to go to school? How you think you had food to eat? How you think you went to go places where you wanted to go and got to eat and stuff like that? So who you think did it?
Well, my question is, did you give it directly to him or did you give it to her?
No, I told him that.
No, no, no. I'm saying all the things that you were
No, no, no,
doing,
no, no.
you
This
know,
stuff that
through.
me and him did ourselves. This is what we go and do it ourselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, so he's got selective memory.
So that's what they all do. No matter if you could be bomb the world, they still say you ain't do nothing for them.
No, they don't all do that.
And I don't
Mine,
understand what you want. $1
mine
million?
don't.
What you want $1 million to say I did something for you?
Mine don't.
Like I
And then,
tell my kids, man, when I was coming up, my mama was what? It was my daddy passed when I was like 5, right?
oh
My
wow,
mama raised me. My stepdaddy came in and raised me. And like, me and him got a good relationship. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing ill, against him or nothing like that. Cause he, anything I needed, he was there to provide for me. You know what I mean? To this
yeah,
day, me and him got a good relationship. You know what I mean? Like I ain't never disrespectful to him or nothing like that. I respect him because he was there for me.
right.
And some kids don't understand that.
And not
You
to
try to tell,
mention,
yeah, you
you
don't.
had a relationship where you could actually be truthful to him and he wouldn't judge you. He helped you more than judged
Right,
you.
right, right. And like my mama did a lot for me when I was coming up, but at the same time, I ain't never said she never did nothing for me, but I know she did for me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? We grew
Mhm.
up in Edison Projects. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it wasn't easy staying there, but she did what she could do. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
did what she could do. You know what I mean?
And that's one of the big differences that I see as far as like parenting
Right,
because like I feel that everybody after my generation, I won't say everybody because they've had some good ones, but the like I would say the half a generation after me was okay, and then everybody else after that it just went like
right,
it was just kind of weird because like for example, it went from a kid like a girl being pregnant at 16 in high school was
right.
like shunned from everybody.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it's like she's 16 pregnant. There's like 5 or 6 of them in just the same class.
Right.
Not the whole class, but just like everybody first period, there's 6 of them pregnant.
That was in my era when I was going to high school, man. That's when all the young girls were pregnant then.
What year did you graduate?
It's 90. It's supposed to be 97, but that's when all the young girls were pregnant.
Oh,
And like when I was going to high school, they was all getting pregnant. Cause I had my first child when I was what 16, going on 17.
okay,
You
that
get
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying? So
Now,
that's when
here,
all the girls were having babies around that time.
okay, then now I have an understanding on why you're having issues. Now, think about this. Okay, you say you were 16 when you had your first kid.
About 16, 17. Yeah, I had my first daughter.
Okay, so how much did you know about raising kids when you have a child?
When how I knew about raising kids, cause when we was growing up, like
No,
we
no.
had to take care of our little sisters.
You were
When
okay. You had experience,
I had experience, not changing baby pamper, how to make milk, how to do all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like financially, I was good then. I was young, but I had money,
but
and
you
I was
also
taking
had,
care of my kid. I was taking care of my daughter.
but you also had a father, positive real male role model who
Yeah,
you
my
modeled
stepdaddy.
after, and
Yeah,
you positive female role model that's like,
right,
"Hey, mom, help me," and she's like, "Okay, what you need?" Okay, you can only teach your kid what you know up to the point where you're at.
right.
So if you're 16 years old and you are a single parent, you're still in high school, or
Mm-hmm.
you are the child of a single parent,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have that other side that the somebody positive male role model, positive female role model, doesn't matter. You're not going to have that to watch and learn and do that with your children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're having an issue now.
Only like okay, with my
No, no,
little young
I'm not
sons,
talking
man.
about
We
you
lived in the
because
same
you,
household. We had
right,
lived in the same household. I
right.
raised them. You understand
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when that separated or whatever, but when it's two different separate households, so one person run their household the way they want to run, and the other one run their household the way. So it ain't on the same page. So when they go home, when they come back, you got to program back to your program. You get what I'm
Oh yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's where all the BS come between. You know what I mean?
And the
And
interesting
stuff
thing
like that.
is, yeah, I had that same exact issue. Me and my ex-husband got divorced in 2017,
Hmm.
and up until my kids became actual like 13-year-old teenagers,
Right.
it was daddy was like the fun daddy. He takes us places, we go things, we do things, and mommy is the disciplinarian and hey, clean your room and hey, you got to go to school and do your homework.
Right. Right.
And so, what tends to happen is
Right.
that actually flips.
Hmm.
And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not there right now, but I'd
Hmm.
still be the same way. They know.
Right.
I tell them, hey, you got to do what you have to do before you can do what you want to do.
Right.
That you have to, if you're going to something that is going to shape you as an individual, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, sports, or whatever, I'm not going to worry about your grades.
Right.
But if you want to do something extracurricular in school, those grades better be on point.
Right.
You know, simple things that, it sounds like common sense, but
Hmm.
if you haven't seen that, like my own parents, for example, I honestly would not have known to actually foster that with my kids.
Right.
Like I said, I watched everything and I took what I need and I tossed the rest.
Right.
So yeah, you have to have that consistency because one side, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm the man, and you got to do this because you want to be a man, you want to be responsible, and she's like, oh, no, 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 go ahead and have a good time. Who do you think he's gonna pay more attention to?
But you know what? We the wrong thing is. My mom never did. Like you got some parents. Some women to tell their sons, "Oh, you the man of the house." You never supposed to tell them that.
Ouch. No,
When you
no.
tell them that, you make them feel like, oh, now they got to go do grown man type stuff.
And then they start thinking they're good grown man stuff, except they're not.
Right.
And that's actually a really, really bad way to. I mean, you can't do that. You can't
Right.
put all that responsibility on the child.
Right.
Yeah, I never told my son that. I told my son,
My mama never told me that. Never
yeah,
told me that.
no. Well, and I couldn't. I mean,
Right.
honestly, my son has autism.
Hmm.
So he was the one that he was a kid that I had really had to keep an eye on. Okay,
Right.
and I advocated him, but I never like, oh my god, that was not the helicopter parent. You know how they have the, oh my god, my baby. No, are you okay? Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Kids bounce. You have to give them enough responsibilities to know what responsibility is, but you
Right.
also got to give them enough fun to know that okay, the responsibility is worth the fun.
Right.
I like I said, I actually learned through my own childhood
Mm-hmm.
that it I'm actually learning a science term. It's called a positive feedback loop or negative feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I think back of when I was raising my kids and when I was growing up.
Right.
Um, I basically wanted attention because I had attention deficit disorder anyway. But my parents paid a lot of attention to my sister because she was the athlete. She did a lot of stuff. And
Right.
now, granted, I was on the moon, watching my sister because I was so proud of her. But at the same time, I kind of wanted the parents' attention. So unconsciously, I started doing bad things because it's the only way they would pay attention to me.
Right.
And so, fast forward to my own kids, I'm like, wait a minute. If that didn't work for me, maybe if I positive
We
reinforcement,
got B
maybe
Mac.
it'd be good.
We got B
He's
Mac back.
back.
How your sound system sounded, man?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How's that?
Yeah. So
Oh,
you good now?
That's much better.
he's
So
not.
back. Okay. So you was talking before. So go back to what you were saying before you
Pretty
got.
much, pretty much. I said, the young lady there, she made some very valid points, and but all, everything is applicable to everybody and stuff like that. And as I said, that I'm at the end of the I'm a baby boomer. I was born in 1961. I'm
Right.
62 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, the
Oh, we
topic
got
here is about
three
kids in the
different
streets and
generations here.
stuff. Say that again.
We
I
got
said
another. Got another one in.
we got three different
Yeah. We got
generations.
another one.
We
Timbo,
Another.
got
welcome to the podcast.
hey,
Okay.
welcome to the podcast. How you
How you
doing?
doing,
Good to
man?
see you.
Hey, what's up? How
Good.
y'all doing?
We all right?
Y'all can
Okay.
see me?
Yeah, we see
Yes,
you.
we got you.
Okay.
No, I
Good
was
evening.
just telling B-Man
Good
that
evening.
Good evening.
we got three different generations here. He's a boomer. I'm Generation X, and we got the millennial over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, I'm a boomer, and when you know when I was coming up, I'm from a single parent home, and like I said, I
Right.
was raised up in Liberty City, Overtown,
Mm-hmm.
Polk Bean Project. Graduated from Miami Northwestern, and I left Miami in 1981,
Right.
and I love coming home, being with my family,
Right.
and also. But for us, these streets here is like like I said, on 12th Avenue and 64th Street, there's a wall right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sat on that wall many a nights. I used to hear at the pool hall down on 62nd, 12th Avenue. I used to hear Isley Brothers all night.
Wow.
So I know about those streets, but I never been in those streets.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to learn from everybody else's mistakes.
Right.
And what helped me when I was very that young age is I spent most of my time with my adult family, and
Mm-hmm.
all and it was a very positive time, reinforcement time. They taught me leadership, independent. If I'm gonna be with anybody, you got to be in charge. Just that, just plain and simple. You don't have
Right.
to do what everybody else do. You do you.
Right.
And then on top of that, they provided examples of positive outcomes for me.
Right.
And so, and does things for my kids. My kids, I just got one he'll soon be 23. On the 29th, he just
Wow.
uh, went active duty, second lieutenant in the Army. I provided
Oh,
him
thank you for your service.
examples. Thank you. I'm retired Air Force
That
myself,
that's okay. You allow him to
Mm-hmm.
go.
and
Thank you. You're gonna be supporting him too, so thank you for your
you
service.
know,
Mm-hmm.
so then my youngest son, he's a junior in college as well. But for us, those streets there, you gotta be that example, like you mentioned earlier. You gotta you know explain things to them, but at the same time, be for real. Show them an example of not being in the streets. Why you can move the way you can move without all the rest of that type of stuff. What's the streets offer? Because the streets is just temporary. You
Right.
got to play the long ball.
Right.
The streets, whether it be hustling, pimping, or whatever that is, that's short term.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can do that. And like somebody once said, ain't no such thing as retired pimp or a drug dealer. So like I say, I ain't been in the streets, but I know about those streets. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it inside, of whether it be on 79th Street or whether it be on
Oh.
17th Avenue, 17th Avenue, and
Who don't know
68th
So
Street,
79th
so
Street?
69th Street.
so so
You
so for
know,
anybody who's out there that is tuning in that is not in the greater Miami or Miami-Dade County, that's where we are. We're in Miami-Dade County, so those are the streets that are pretty popular
I know,
and rough.
15th Avenue, 15th Avenue. Between 62nd and 71st Street. I know
Yeah,
those streets.
man.
I know them. I know about the hustling. I
Seventh
know
Ave
about
Flea
all of
Market,
it.
man.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like the topic here, kids in the streets, though. But you got to be able to show them another way,
Right.
and ask them, and talk with them, look them in their eyes, and have them look you in the eyes. They
Mm-hmm.
know what they don't like. They know what they want, and let them know it's okay for you to lead your own way, because you built like that. You can be strong if you want to be strong.
Right.
So that's all I can say about in the streets. That's I know what kept me out of the streets.
Right.
So the streets can be rough. It can eat
Mm-hmm.
you up just like that jailhouse can eat you up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you know, and just to kind of regress here a little bit, like I said, I know about that jailhouse too. Because when I
Right.
was a little shorty on my block, it was all guys. And the
Uh-huh.
older guys, they were robbing stores and banks and stuff. Then they get locked up and stuff like that. Word got back out on the street what was going on in jailhouse, in the
Right.
prison, and I ain't wanting to go there. And I
Yeah, it's
definitely didn't want to go
understandable.
there.
I
Right.
know.
You know,
I had friends there, so
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I say I know about what's those streets, and I know about a lot of things, but I rather learn from somebody else.
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Timo, tell us what you think about this topic.
Mhm. This
Uh,
topic. Oh, okay, go ahead, bro.
how y'all doing? First of all,
Yeah, what you doing, man?
man,
Hey,
Hook, for having
Yeah.
me. For I appreciate it.
Share the
Um,
live. Everybody share the live that when they get it, just share it on their page.
absolutely.
right.
Mm-hmm.
What I feel about this topic, let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you a little story about me as a kid. Um, growing up in poverty, we started off my family. We started off living in the pork and bean projects,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then as time moved on, my mom got in trouble. She had to go do a little bit in prison. She got out of prison, so we moved from the beans into EP Edison Projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We lived over there in the Edison Projects, and
So you just
these
went
kids,
across the highway.
right, right,
Yeah.
kids, these kids these days wouldn't know anything about eating the hard cheese with the bread, making with the powdered milk, with the just making sugar water instead of what we call Kool-Aid now.
Mhm.
And
They don't know.
they nowadays you hear about, they say it starts at home with the kids. It starts at home with the kids, that's right. But at the end of the day, I don't know which one of you guys said it, but I do believe I heard somebody say that you can be the best parent that you could to your child.
Mhm.
But once your child leave that house and decide to tell you that they're going to school and they might not be going to school, and they get out and sometimes they mind wonder, they get caught up with situations, they get caught up with different
Right.
people.
Right.
They get caught up with different people in different situations. You're gonna notice a difference about your child when he or she comes home. You're gonna
Mhm.
notice a different mood. When you observe your child, you're supposed to observe your child frontwards and backwards. You
Right.
observe, not
Right.
meaning have your child to get naked, but you observe your child.
Right.
You observe they movement and the way they walk, the way they move. And it's very important. As I'm like, look, I'm like you.
Right.
My first son was born. I was in the 12th grade at Miami Edison Senior High.
Mhm.
My first son was born when I was 17 years old, and that
Mhm.
was in 1988. That's when
Mhm.
my first son was born. I was a child raising a child,
Right.
still living in the projects, still living up under my mom's roof. I saw my mom go through a lot of personal things in my life, and I knew as a parent I didn't want to go through that as well. And don't get me wrong, I love my mom. I love, and oftentimes you hear people say, "I love you to death." No, I don't love nobody to death. I'm gonna love you till the lifetime is over with between you and myself.
Right.
So, yeah, I seen my mom go through the struggles, and I actually did a lot of things in Edison Project to come up out the struggles.
Right.
Succeeded in some things, and I didn't succeed in some things. I tried to enlist in the army, but playing football, I messed up my left knee. I couldn't go there because I had an injury, and the army wouldn't accept me. I
Right.
mean,
Oh,
I had the brains, but I didn't have the body. So, with our kids these days, we have to be mindful and we have to be careful of the way the kids move. I just saw an incident on maybe like a couple of weeks ago with the situation over there at Miami Northwestern, to where they was at a basketball game and all hell
Mhm.
broke loose.
oh wow.
Yeah, all hell broke loose. It was a kid that got popped so many times after it was a fight or whatever the case may be. We have to be careful of the moves that our kids make, where they're going.
Mhm.
Because our kids can leave our house and go somewhere, and a friend can get them a gun. Your neighbor can get them a gun.
Right.
Their classmates can give them a gun. You never know.
Right.
And we first of all, I'm gonna tell you where, if this topic is about schools, I'm gonna just give you my honest opinion about it. Me, Scrungy, I believe that when they began to take prayer out of schools, schools got out of hand. That's just
Right.
my opinion about it. When they began to take prayer out of schools, schools got out of hand, because when I was going to school, we had to say one nation under God. We had to say all of those things, and I don't even think they even say that no more in school.
Right.
So if you're a father, you have to be a role model to your kids. Even when you are grown and your kids are getting grown, you still have to be a role model to your kids. And you have to let your kids know that
Work.
I'm not your friend. I'm your daddy.
Right.
I'm your
Absolutely.
lifetime. Right. You have to let that kid know, because when you begin to play the friend role to your child, whether it's your daughter or your son, you become something or somebody to play with your child.
Right.
You set examples from when they're kids until when they grow up, they know like, oh, mom and dad don't play. Mom and dad don't play. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mom,
Right.
Absolutely. You're
it's
right.
not that it's not
Right.
that you being strict. It's not that you being too hard on it, but you have to set example with these kids.
Right.
You have to, because right now, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a racist person, because my oldest son, he's um biracial, whatever. But our black kids are targets every day.
Right.
They're
That's not
targets.
that's not being racist. That's being real.
Right.
Right.
I mean, our black kids are targets every day. Look at
Right.
the incident that happened with Trayvon Martin back in the day, a couple of years ago, when he was just a little young kid, big as I don't know what, could have been an athlete or whatever, just walking through a residential neighborhood. You can tell he was a kid. He had a hoodie on his head, drinking
Right.
some tea and eating some Skittles.
Right.
And look how the white guy decided to come bother him. He hit the white guy. The white guy killed him. He was a
Right.
kid.
Right.
We don't want that to happen in our society again. We
Right.
don't want that to happen to our society again. Therefore, we have to be mindful and we have to stay connected with our kids. We have to do things with our kids. We have to be better role models to our kids.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want your kids to slip off and start smoking weed and doing all these things, but who's to say what they're not doing when they're not around you?
Right.
And my thing is this right here, and you oftentimes you hear parents say that my child, my son, my daughter is a good kid. But when that kid is out of your sight, you
Mm-hmm.
never know what that he or she may be doing.
Right.
You never know what he or she may be doing. So therefore, that's the reason why I keep saying that we have to examine our kids.
Right.
We have to examine our kids and pray for our kids.
Right.
I pray
Always,
for your kids.
always,
You pray
always.
for my kids. We have to pray for our kids, man. I mean, because the devil is on a streak. He's got one mission: to
Mm-hmm.
kill, steal, and destroy our kids.
Right.
And if we as parents allow that to happen by not praying for our kids, it's going to happen. And I'm gonna just leave it like that. I mean, we all have kids. Hook, I know you got your kids. You
Yeah.
love them. I heard your
Right.
story. Growing up as a kid, you lost your father at the age of 5, and your stepfather. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't lose my father until I was a grown man, but my father took care of me till the bitter. And even when I was grown, my father got sick, and I was living with my father. He said, "Man, I know you're a grown man. I know you want to bet on your own, but I need you here. Don't care nothing about what your friends say about you, a grown man, and you still living with your dad. I need you here." And that made me
Right,
feel so special because at the end of the day, I was my dad's only son. I was my
Right.
dad's only son. And
Right.
he made me feel so special. And much as I wanted to get out, I had a girlfriend. I was so much in love with her. I wanted to be up, you know what I'm saying? But daddy come first, baby, because I can get another one of you, but I can't get another father.
Right. Right.
So
exactly.
I just thank y'all for having me on. I don't want to take up too much time, but I love this topic. And Hook, I've been trying to get on, but my
Right.
mind just be a lot of things. And I'm kind of like as a father right now.
Right.
Um, I'm 54 years old. I have a
Right.
younger son that's 22 years old.
Right.
He's going through a little something in Broward County right now.
Right.
But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, he's grown and I'm grown. But that's still my son.
Right.
Right,
And no
right.
matter what he is, no matter what it is that he's going through, I have to be there for him. But I also let him know, listen, we also have to let our kids know it's choices in life.
Right.
And Hook, I know you
Two
heard this
choices.
plenty.
Two
Right,
choices.
right. And I know you heard this time and time again
Right.
because my mom used to always tell me, used to always tell us, period. The way you make your bed is how you have to lay in your bed.
Right.
Yep.
You can make your bed hard, you got to lay in that hard bed.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to. We have choices,
Yeah.
and we have to tell our kids that y'all have choices. You have choices to do right. You have choices to do wrong, but you have a choice. But I tell my sons all the time, listen, by you in your right state of mind, and you know right from wrong,
Right.
when you make that decision to do wrong,
Right.
just remember, warning came before your destruction.
Right.
And I gave you a warning before your destruction came. Now you're with your destruction. I'm gonna be there for you, but at the end of the day, man up, toughen it out, and see what the end's gonna bring for you. Thanks
Right.
y'all for having me on, and I love y'all, man. Hook, you keep up the
Yeah.
good work, and
I
Thanks for
appreciate it.
coming. Appreciate it.
yeah, man, I
Mm-hmm.
love y'all, man. And this, we should. I mean, I don't know how often you're going to do this, but it should be more interested topics like this because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, our kids are lost
Right.
without parents. Whether you, I mean, some of us, some of us just take parenting to a different extreme. I done actually seen females hang out with their daughters at the club. I done
Yeah.
seen fathers hang out with their sons smoking weed. Like, come on, bro. Like,
Right.
what you gonna do when
Right.
and I'm gonna end this, and I'm gonna
Right.
tell y'all a little quote. The Bible tells us, honor your mother and your father, and your days may be longer. That's what the
Right.
Bible says.
Right.
But the Bible also tells the parents not to provoke your children to dishonor you.
Right.
Thanks for having me. God bless y'all.
I
I
appreciate it, man, for
appreciate you.
coming on.
All right.
Thank,
Appreciate you. Thanks for
thank
All
coming
you.
right.
on. You
Have a
know,
good one.
Okay.
and I thought he was going to say, train up a child in the ways of the Lord. You know that Bible verse? Train up a
He hear
child in
you.
the ways of the Lord,
Yeah,
and he will
yeah,
always
yeah,
stay. Yeah,
yeah. He won't stray away, but
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
that was a great one that he said there
Yeah, that
because
was
that's
good. That
very
was a good one.
valid too. Very,
Mm-hmm.
I just
very
wanted
true.
to. I
Mm-hmm.
I put the hotlines up here, so if anybody was taking a look, and y'all having issues with drugs or alcohol, or if you feel like you're trying to take yourself off the planet, please call somebody. Please talk to somebody. Thank you.
Yeah. And if anybody want to chime in, just got a little, they want to put a little input into this, they could just inbox me. I could send them the link and they could come on the screen and, share their story or whatever they got to say about anything pertaining to this topic or whatever. Thank
Well, and I thought it was kind of interesting that he said that there's nobody here that can say that they have good children.
you. That's true. That's true.
I
Cause
I can I can
that's true. Cause I
I
ain't gonna lie. When the
I can.
teacher ever call you, right? When the teacher call you, like my mom used to do, when the teacher called me, used to call me for my son, right? When you know your kids, you know them.
But no, here's the thing: all children are not inherently bad, and they're not inherently good. So
That
yes,
we know.
we all have good
Yeah,
children. It's
yeah, but
just
they're
they
human.
do bad things.
They're
Mm-hmm.
And
human.
that's the thing. You have to separate the actual person from the action.
Right.
Yeah,
Love the enemy. Was it I this late at night my memory is just like phew. But there is a Bible verse for that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you have to separate the bad action from the actual person.
Right.
Good people do bad things. That doesn't make them bad people.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we all have good children. Children are not inherently bad or good when they get here.
Right.
But if all the things that they're seeing are bad, then yeah, they're going to do bad things. If all the things they're seeing are good, then they're going to do good things.
Right.
So that's where I was saying you have to change the vocabulary of how you talk about and to your children,
Mm-hmm.
because what you tell them as they're growing up become their thoughts,
Right.
because they're a blank slate when they get here, like
Mm-hmm.
completely blank. And yeah, we all have good children. Children are good.
Right.
You just
Right.
have to realize that the mistakes they make is not a reflection of their morality.
Right.
They just made a mistake. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
they choose to do bad, okay, then they're doing bad things, but they're still not bad people.
Right.
The bad people, you know who the bad people are.
One thing I want to share, right? I want to know, did y'all ever seen, I don't know if y'all probably seen it, came across y'all news feed. Some guy, he say a black guy, I think it was out of town or in Florida somewhere. He woke up and he said, that's when they were in the interrogation room. He told the police that he said he going to kill somebody today, right? And he called the Uber to come pick him up, and he killed the black lady. He
Oh,
stabbed her. He woke up with that on his mind, said he gonna kill somebody today. He took the lady life.
yeah. Like I said, there are bad people out there.
But
But
people need to understand that we have a lot of strong spirits and a lot of strong demons that
there
really
you go,
takes over
cuz.
people,
There you
true,
go, cuz.
takes
true,
over people's
You
absolutely.
wake
mind.
up like that.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing on
Well,
your
and
mind.
that's the
That's
whole thing.
inhuman.
Yeah,
And
you're
and they
right.
and the spirits them they very strong out here right now. Like the demons them they so strong that when they get into the people they just take over and they do make the people do whatever they want them to carry out.
Well, and that's because of the fact that they haven't really basically strengthened themselves spiritually. There's a lot of different ways that you can strengthen yourself, spiritually. And
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, and a lot of people are like, oh, are you religious? No, I'm not religious. Are you spiritual? No, I'm a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because for the most part, spirituality has a lot of basis in religion, but it's not religious.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you guard yourself, whether you pray, whether you sage, whether you have crystals or whatever, as
Right.
long as you're guarding yourself in a positive manner, it really doesn't matter how you do it, whether you go to church every day or you just, like I said, you do the sage and the crystals and all that stuff. As long as it's affecting you in a positive manner and you're feeling good about yourself and you feel like you want to do good, be good to people,
Right.
then I'd say whatever works.
Right.
Because there are those people that aren't guarded like that, that will wake up, call an Uber, and kill. I stopped being an Uber driver
Right.
because when I first got down here in April of last year,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm working. I'm going to do my Uber on the weekend because Miami is huge and y'all got football and concerts and people come here just to come here. So I
Right.
can make a lot of money. The first month I was here, I saw a article that came across on my Instagram feed.
Right.
And you guys have probably seen it. Um, somewhere in mid central Florida, guy picked up his wife from work,
Right.
dropped her off at home, and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go and drop off this Uber Eats, and I'll be back."
Right.
And he never came home because where he dropped it off, he got murdered. And it
I
wasn't
heard
even
that.
just, yeah, it wasn't even just like, oh, kill and stash. We're talking disassemblage. He
Damn.
took this guy apart. It was the guys. They said it was it was like some kind of ritual.
Damn.
And I said, okay, that's it. I'm still registered as a licensed Uber driver because they
Right.
do have a lot of good benefits, but I don't drive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, I want to stay here for a little while longer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to take myself off the census yet.
You know, like, like,
But there are people out there
right.
that are not guarded like that. And yeah, you have the demons that come in, and if they're weak minded, that's what happens.
Right. Like I told, I told my son, I was talking to him the other day. I told him, I say, man, every person that I knew that a girl called them or whatever, they never came back home. I say, you need to learn how to listen. Talking about 11 o'clock, you 16, you want to go out the house, to go to a studio. You don't do that at night. You do that in the morning. The afternoon, when you get out of school, whatever, for an hour, you come home. He falling
The
behind whoever these little
studio?
boys he running with
Are
and
you talking
all
about
this
going
stuff.
up to the Studio 183?
No, to the studio where they record music. You know what I mean? And he telling me like he want to do this and want to do that. So I'm like, and I'm
10
saying to
o'clock at
myself like
night?
11 o'clock at night, he want to walk the house.
I don't, mm.
And I talk to him. I say, man, you could be rushing to your death. You don't even know that. And
Yeah,
you getting saved. You getting saved by us trying to tell you not to go. You don't know what was out there waiting on you that night. And it's like the spirits of the night, they swallow the kids up.
like I said, you gotta get in their brains. You gotta get in their brains. Um, there's a lot of kids out there right now in
Mm-hmm.
this, and I won't even say in this generation, but I would say they're probably in their 20s now that had those 16, 15, 14-year-old parents. And like I
Right,
said, you can only teach up to what you already know.
right.
And if you're 15 and your mom is 35 and your grandmother is it's 50, how much are you gonna know unless you were watching them or watching your great great grandmother?
Right,
I had my first child when I was 36.
right.
My
You had
son
that
was born.
child late.
Yes. Well, and like I said, it was 13 years of not trying. We were married.
Right,
We weren't
right.
we weren't preventing the
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, but we weren't like trying to, have kids either. So, um, yeah, he was 4 months early when he was born. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I learned that I instilled in my children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, they are good and they do good things. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed, absolutely blessed. I actually miss them like crazy.
Right,
'Cause you put them two together and you just laugh all day long because they feed off of each other.
right.
But the thing is, though, is that we have to come up with solutions on how to help the ones that are already out there. I mean,
Some
we have we have the hotlines, we have the numbers, um,
But I
but
think,
you know,
in addition to what you're saying, I think they want to have to not be out there.
well, and I don't think any kid's gonna want to be out there, huddled behind a
But,
trash can while somebody's shooting at them. But
but,
the
but
thing
why are
is
they
that
out there?
they're out there.
fallen friends.
Well, so they gotta want not to be out there. That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
That you have to present them with better options, which is where I was
Mm,
going, was
mhm,
we have to think of solutions to, like, for example, there's a program in Jacksonville
Uh
called
huh.
ah, it's something Harbor. I'll probably think of it after we're done. But Open Harbor or something like that. And basically it is a program where young boys can go and learn how to work a boat. And it's kind of like, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, but it's actually because, we have like what, four ports there. Not to mention we have the Naval Air Station and we also have Mayport. So that, you know, we're around a whole bunch of water up there. So,
Right.
well, I think it's safe. That's what it is. Safe Harbor. It's
Hmm.
called Safe Harbor. And basically it's a boys program. I think it's boy. I want to say it's a boys program. But the whole thing is that the kids go there and they learn how to work a boat, sailboats, sails, the lines, the navigation and the parts, which direction, you know, they learn how to translate, miles per hour to knots, you know,
Hmm.
which way do you turn to make the boat go that way if you're going forward or backwards,
Right.
you know, bow, stern, port,
Right.
starboard, you know.
Right.
But those programs are few and far between, and the problem with those is that a lot of them, yes, they're nonprofits, but
Right.
I honestly believe that they need more, um it's not so much they need the money, they need the bodies.
Right.
They need people.
Hmm.
It's almost like, Big Brother Big Sister is a really big organization. I mean, it's national. You know,
Right.
Denzel Washington is a big proponent of Big Brother and Big Sisters because he came from the streets and that's what saved him. You
Right.
know, so you have those national programs, which is great, but I think the bigger impact is if you have a local program with local people who know the kids.
Right.
Just like um, with uh, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, sweetheart.
Which one? The one we let off?
Yeah, no,
Timo?
yeah, the one that's on
Oh,
right
oh,
now,
B Mac.
BMAC. I'm sorry, BMAC, BMAC. So, you know, you walking down the street, you doing bad. Your neighbor sees you. She comes out and beats your behind, tells your mother, and then she beats her. Yeah, and then she beats your behind, right? That
absolutely. Back in the day.
yes. So that's basically the whole thing is that we have a program where the people, we can bring the village back, in other words, you
Right.
know, have the people participate because they know the children.
They should have never took out paddling out to school. They used to paddle the kids when they used to be bad in school. I remember I got paddled when I was in school.
I got paddled for being late for my third period class in junior high school.
Hmm.
Here's the problem with paddling. Paddling only teaches you not to get caught.
Right from wrongs. In my
Nope,
opinion, like right from
nope,
wrong.
nope, nope. Paddling only teaches you not to get caught. See, there's
Hmm.
a big difference between this is what I was telling you Sunday. The difference between punishment and discipline. Now, discipline comes from disciple, which means to teach.
Hmm.
So if you're going to discipline your child, you need to teach them why what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
If you punish your kid, then all you're doing is teaching them not to get caught. They don't know, hey, maybe I shouldn't swing off the ceiling fan because I might get hurt.
Right.
Okay. Or even, one of the interesting things, you can actually take them to places where they can, you know, like the Scared Straight program they used to have,
Right.
where they can see, yeah, don't do drugs because it makes your left eye come out, you
Mm-hmm.
know, things like that. I know I'm being, you know, I'm
All
exaggerating,
right.
but that's the whole thing, you know. You have to make them understand in
Right.
way, and you got to use, like I said, you got to use words that they can understand. You know, uh,
One,
age appropriate. That's what I was trying to say.
but like one thing I want to say, like you got some of these kids, like they stuck in the box. You know what I mean? Like where you grow up at, you stuck in the box. You live there, you die there. It's like they don't know nowhere outside the box. You
And
understand what I'm saying? And
yeah, I do.
sometimes if if you trying to be a good Samaritan to the to the community or whatever, you know, and that's your neighborhood, and like you could take the kids out, show them somewhere different
Yeah,
than
yeah,
where they come from. Because when they that's all they know and that's all they see.
yeah, exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I do.
we need more programs. Like if we could get programs in Miami that take kids to different places where they can see different things and be able to interact with them, teach them hands-on things, how to
Yeah.
fix things, how to do this. Maybe the crime rate to go down, but they took away all of that because they want the crime rate to go up to keep their money, keep the money generating. You know what I mean? And
Well,
stuff like that.
you do realize we still have legal slavery, right?
Yeah, I know that. But you know how
So
it go. They give them the money, and then when they don't do, they take the money back. They give you the money to control you, and they want to be able to control your content, whatever you say
no,
and
it's
do
not
what
even
you
that.
can't say.
The legal slavery that we have is the justice system.
That
It's the
too.
prisons.
That too.
That's the only thing that is like we can't be slaves. Other people can't be slaves, but people who are incarcerated can be slaves.
Right.
Now, guess what? Who's more incarcerated than any other demographic on in the United States?
Mostly black.
Exactly. So why in the world would we want to give you a program that's going to help the kids to steer away from that prison pipeline?
Right.
We're not.
Well, and
We
it's
we can't depend on the.
way back when in the latter '60s and '70s, they had those
Uh-huh.
programs,
Uh-huh.
but because of politics, they took all that away.
Well, it's the
Mm-hmm.
war on
But
drugs.
say it again.
And the war on drugs.
Yeah, but still, that's relying on a outside source. But before
And
that,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like
hmm
we can't depend on the government to try and do
right?
something with kids
Because
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 they don't want it.
when you go further back, you know, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, African Americans, they took care of their own a whole lot. They had the standards. Everything was self sufficient,
Right.
self sufficiency,
Yeah,
and you had a community to raise your kids,
Mm-hmm.
and also the
and
thing
that's
is,
what
go ahead.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like we have
Hmm
to get the community involved because they're the ones that know the kids.
hmm
But that would never happen because everybody, they got everybody got their program of what they got going on. So that would never happen like in the inner city of Miami. I don't think that would happen unless everybody come together. You know what I mean? That's the only way that'll happen.
Well, uh, I wouldn't say never. I would say probably not in my lifetime. But then again,
you
but
know,
then
I would
again,
say all
but then
things are
again,
possible.
well,
Right, right,
and
right,
that's what I said. Then again,
right,
we've had a black president in my lifetime,
right,
so I won't say never.
right.
It does take a spark. And I think Gen Z, the generation that's graduating high school right now, or actually graduating 2020, I think they're going to be our change makers because there's a lot of them out there that are seeing exactly what we're seeing, but they can do more about it.
Well, we could do something about it now while we here, but
Mm.
people don't want to stand for it though. You know what I mean? It's a lot of like if we want to change laws, everybody got to get together and do it. But nobody want to stand for that. Everybody just want to. They'll wait in line for a pair of Jordans. They'll wait in line for the new iPhone. They'll wait in line for anything to look good in, but they not finna go stand up for the right thing.
Well, and the thing is that it's not a tangible thing. Like, I honestly believe if we gave everybody a free meal every time they went to vote, there'd be a lot of people in that line.
Maybe.
But we can't say, hey, if you vote right now for the representative that's going to represent you in Tallahassee or in, Congress or whatever, you will have the benefit of having somebody to advocate for you when they come up with these stupid laws.
Right.
But they're not going to see that far ahead. They can't see that far ahead. And that's why it's so important for people to really know our, you know, our system,
Hmm.
because what they don't realize is that everything that's going on now actually starts on the local level. Your your city councilman, heck,
Hmm.
your school board,
Right.
your city councilman, your mayor, governors, they actually we have the power. We just have to pay more attention to it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's not so much that we can't change. We can make that change. But we have to not paying attention to the right things. Like you said, people are standing in line to go get a set of Jordans or, a purse or a hat or dress up or
Right.
anything like that. But sit down and go on the internet and look up, the state of Florida and all of the bills that are in the House in Florida and read them
Right.
and find out what's going on.
Right. But they're not going to do that though.
That's the hard part. We
They
do
ain't going
have
to do
that
that.
power, and we do have. It's just that nobody wants to know,
Mm-mm.
because right now it's easier to not know and complain about it.
Right. They don't want to know
Oh, I
that.
didn't know that. I didn't know they were. I voted for him. I didn't know they were going to do that. Yeah, you did. You could have found out because, like we're here right now. Okay, we're reaching whoever we're reaching, so it's not like people don't have the access to get the information. They just don't want to do it.
But we got okay, like we got mayors in the city of Miami and stuff like that. Why they don't make programs for the kids to go to out of school, to steer them in a different direction? That I don't understand. But
Um,
people, all they stealing money. Half of them stealing the
Yeah, but
money.
they can't benefit from that.
But I'm just
That's
saying.
that takes
that's
effort.
exactly it.
But the
That
They
takes
kids
can't
could
benefit.
benefit
That's
from it.
their motivation. They
oh,
want to do
kids
anything
will
that to
benefit it all
hinder.
day, but it won't benefit who's in office.
Right.
Right.
We
You know.
basically, like I said, it has to be what we call a grassroots organization.
Right.
It has to start from the bottom. I remember when I was up in Jacksonville, um, there was an organization. We called ourselves the Northeast Florida Bikers Association. Yes, I used to ride a motorcycle. Actually, I still know how to ride a motorcycle. I just don't have one right now. And the idea that they had was that we were going to adopt a kindergarten class, or two
Hmm.
or three of them. Okay. And we adopt the kindergarten class. And basically, we would mentor them from the time they were in kindergarten until they graduated high school. And the idea was to talk to our representative, which I forgot who it was now because this was back in 2010, to talk to the representative to see if we can get grants and get organizations in on it so that, we would have that support to be able to do it.
Hmm.
And I honestly don't remember what happened with it because, like I said, in 2010, I had a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So
Hmm.
it was kind of hard for me to participate after the kids got older. And, particularly when my son started going to preschool, because, like I said, he was 4 months early. So he was going to preschool at 3 years old. So, but that was actually one of the ideas that the organization had, which I was all over because, um, you figure that was in 2010. So if we would have actually gotten everything together in 2010,
Right.
that program would have been in action for 14 years now.
Right.
How much of a difference do you think 14 years would make?
It would have made some change or whatever.
Significantly with those young minds
Especially,
Right.
and
I mean,
mentoring.
even if it's just one kindergarten class,
Yeah.
okay? You're talking like what? Well, I don't know how y'all do it down here, but they have 2 teachers and 38 students. So 38 people. There'll be a good percentage of them. I won't say all of them because, like I said, you could do everything right, but it can just go off to the left. But a good percentage of them would have either graduated high school, maybe went to college, trade school, military, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you figure 38 people, and then the people they affect, wives, kids, aunts, uncles, cousins,
Mm-hmm.
their descendants, you know, that's that positive feedback like I was telling you about.
Right.
Start out good, and then they will want to keep doing good because it feels good and you get rewarded.
Right.
So that's the kind of programs that really need to be in place. And like I said, it really has to be grassroots because we got to get our kids back.
Yeah. But like people got to start making change in the community. They
if
got to
if
want
our
better for their
capital
kids.
right, well, if our capitalistic system wasn't so hard to live in the first place, because a lot of the times, when we were saying about the parents having to be there for their kids, like when they get home from school and make them do homework and all that stuff,
Hmm.
some of them can't do it because they're working one job, two job, three jobs, you know. Um, and that's one of the things that is detrimental to our children because there are parents that do want to be there, but they also want to be able to make sure that the kids are fed and clothed and can get back and forth to school, you know.
Right.
So that's another part of, that's another program that needs. And that's actually what I believe our welfare system should have been like
Hmm.
to help the people who are working and they're working hard and they're trying to take care of their kids, but at the end of the month, they've got a credit card that's overbalanced because they're paying for stuff they don't have money for,
Right.
essential stuff.
Right.
So yeah, those are the actual, programs that need to help people. I mean,
Right.
we do have a capitalistic system, but there are some of us because of the how things happen or with us systemic racism that was built into our system,
Right.
it's not helping us, because we're trying to live as the system allows, but it's not letting us because we're still getting that negative feedback like, oh, well, is your name Shaquita? All right, we're going to put your resume over here because I can't pronounce that name.
Right.
And y'all look at me crazy, but it happens. It happens a lot. So that we
Mhm.
gotta save our kids, but we have to be creative with it because
Right.
the system's not helping us.
Right. Hmm.
So the topic is this: why is it hard to get our kids back on track once the streets gets a hold of them? Well, we have parents that don't want to be parents,
Yeah, you're right.
kids that don't
You
want to be kids.
a lot of them, a lot of the parents, they don't even mess when the kids come home for homework. They don't even let them do homework. They just run outside and do what they want to do.
Well, and that's the whole thing. As long as they're out of my hair, I ain't worried about it. I'm just gonna go over here and
Hmm.
scroll on TikTok. You
Right.
know, um, we got programs that are out there,
Right.
but we can't access them because the qualifications are such that you know somebody who actually makes like about $30,000 a year
Hmm.
would not qualify for welfare,
Hmm.
even though the way our system is designed,
Hmm.
you have to have two income. You have to have two incomes to survive here.
Yeah. Right. Florida don't got like California, man. California is off the chain, man. Like rent wise, oh man.
Yeah, I know. Well, I want to let everybody know that we're glad that you're here. Thank you for paying attention to us, and hopefully you can, join us if you like. Send us a text or an email, um, but always be yourself and keep it real.
Right. Right. If anybody want to chime in, they got something they want to say or whatever dealing with the topic, you could just inbox me. I seen the link. You can come in and you can say what you got to say.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and we accept everybody. Always be respectful, please, and thank you, because we realize that everybody has an opinion, but we don't have to be nasty about it. Okay,
Right. That's why you got to always be yourself and keep it real. Always.
and respectful,
Hmm.
because like I always say that.
So, so B Mac, what you think about having a Million Man March in Miami, Florida?
Woo. That's a good question. What you going to try to? What are you trying to achieve, and where?
We
What you
trying to
trying to achieve?
bring everybody together.
Everybody to where?
Put all the differences aside.
Okay, and oh, mean just to create some show unity? Something simple as
No,
being
just try
one.
to try to bring everybody together. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Put all the
Uh,
differences aside, and
Well, here's I already see one little teeny tiny problem with that. You have a goal. You gotta have a goal.
hmm
right.
Like,
Hmm.
what's the goal? What is the actual goal?
changing some laws, changing some, like making it more better for the men's that they could get more, changing the
Okay,
laws for the
I think,
felons.
cause I think just a simple come together to represent Miami as a community
Hmm.
is it would be more realistic
Hmm.
before you start touching serious stuff,
Right.
just to see how people respond to that. Instead of saying, we the Cubans, we the Haitians, and we're just African Americans here, but just say
Hmm.
Miami as a community, just to come together and say, this is Miami, we are Miami.
Right.
well,
And
here's the thing though, I mean,
mhm,
and actually that's pretty good.
mhm.
The thing about it though is that you're it starts to sound like you're kind of like muddling it down. Well, you have to remember that each ethnic group has their own personalities, their own
Right.
That's
way of
true.
doing things.
Right.
So what's going to work for us is not going to work for the Cubans. What's works for the Cubans
Yeah.
is not going to work for the Haitians. What
Yeah,
works for
but
the
the thing
Haitians is not
is,
gonna.
here is that you're not in Cuba, you're not in Haiti, you're in Miami,
That's true.
Right.
and that's the common ground.
Okay,
Okay,
I have a question,
mhm.
and this is not a trivia question. I have an answer actually, but what do you think would be the single unifying thing that all the ethnic groups can agree upon, no matter what their culture?
I think I think they can agree upon being and living in Miami, the city of Miami. I'm just that simple. Because there's no argument. That's a fact.
But
And
but here's the thing: everybody lives different. You know what the single unifying thing that would bring all of the communities together?
so, what do you think that is?
What?
Our subject, our
Oh, to
children.
come, everybody have kids. Everybody have kids in the
If
streets.
either you have kids, you're around kids, you teach kids, your kids have kids, your cousins have kids, your
Yeah,
mom
but
has other kids.
yeah, yeah, but here's the thing
That
about
is
that.
the single unifying thing that would
Yeah,
bring all of the cultures together.
I would say it could be, but because we have these cultural identities and it's very strong in South Florida, they would say, "Oh, that's their kids or those kids,"
But
and
here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. Anybody can go to jail. Anybody can get shot.
Right.
Any school can get shot up.
Right.
Okay,
that's true.
we've seen schools from Columbine, we've seen school in Uvalde.
Yeah,
Columbine's in Colorado.
but those are very, very emotional, touchy
That's
possibility
and but
issue.
here's
Whereas if you can deal with the
the
facts
the fact
is that
is
everybody's living in Miami. That's what I'm just.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep it simple and just
Hmm.
The f-
celebrate. We are Miami.
the fact is that there isn't a single child on the United States that is safe going to school.
Right.
Guaranteed safe going to
Mm.
school.
I'm not going to
Right.
disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you now. So I
So
won't. I
there
wouldn't even participate in that debate at
there
all.
so there is the foundation, the unifying thing is that we all want our children to survive to graduate high school.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then we can branch off to, hey, let me come over to little Haiti and see what everything's like over there. I don't know about Haitians, but I'm willing to learn.
Right.
Yeah, but as Cuz mentioned, we're talking about a unified march.
Right.
So we march
That's
for
what
our
I'm saying.
children. We
Right.
march for our children.
Because you know why? I think so. Because a lot of these kids used to hang together, play basketball together, play football together, and what they turn around and do, they want to kill each other because they're hanging with a certain kind of crowd from this area and this
Exactly.
area. You understand? Everybody
Exactly.
need to come together, bring their kids together, and unify everything, and then to see what that would do for the community. But like I said, it probably be a hard thing because everybody's stuck in their ways. Everybody, stubborn, and they may not believe in that. You know what I mean?
Well, I will
Well,
tell you that at least I know my school can do it. My high school can do it because
it's
they have
possible. But it's just that how you have to. That's
they
something you
actually
have
have
to plant the
they
seeds
actually
and
have
nurture.
yeah, they actually have something like that in Jacksonville. They call it Come Together Day.
Right.
Hmm.
And it's
And
actually very
then,
successful. And the thing about it is that it is the majority of the black community, no
Hmm.
matter what, where in Jacksonville they live.
no, but they
And
stuff like that happens when they have like the multi-class
no, no, no.
reunions from the different
They do it every
schools.
year. They do it every year. Come
Hmm.
Together Day is every year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Um, matter of fact, you mentioned the high school. They have what they call the Northeast Classic, which is Rains High School and Rebald High School are a mile away from each other.
Hmm.
One used to be an all white school, the other used to be all black school. Now they're on the north side, they're both black. And I think it's Rain's homecoming is the Northwest Classic. So when Rains and Rebald play, it's it's like going to the Rattler Strike. It's like going to the one is the classic in Orlando. The whole city either like Rains or they like Rebald. And they have and it's the first weekend in November, and they even have a parade and everything. That's what I mean by community coming together and showing what can positively happen when you do get together. You know,
Hmm.
you rally around a single point. For in the case of the Northeast Classic is football. In case of Come Together, it's going out and listening to good DJs and eating some really nice food and talking to people you ain't seen in a while because they live on the other side of town. Jacksonville's very big, by the way.
Right.
So yeah, you gotta know what that single unifying thing. And I do like what you said, B man, about people coming together but like I said, you gotta have a team.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
But you
I
got to
like
have heavy,
yeah.
heavy police present there though, because
You got to ask for this.
you know how black people is, man. They can't go nowhere and be and have nothing good going on.
You're not lying. You're before last.
And that's sad, man. Black people can't never have nothing without nothing happening.
Well, that's not true. It's just that you got to qualify that. You know if something's going to happen, you need to prepare for it. Prepare for
Right.
prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Now, I will tell you, I did not go to the because we have our alumni picnic every year, Miami
Hmm.
Carroll City Senior High.
Hmm.
And year before last, I didn't go
Hmm.
because I was still in Jacksonville. I wasn't able
Hmm.
to go. And they had an incident out there. year before last, 2022.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, now, out of all the times that I've been there and all the times that they've actually had it, that's the first time I've ever heard of any incident happen. Nothing happened last year.
Right.
So, yeah, you got to, and I do remember, and I know why, because we were at Fraser Park, and we had high security. So if there was too many people in the park, nobody was allowed in. Matter of fact, when I showed up, I got there around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I
Mhm.
had to wait at one of the gates because there were too many people in the park.
Damn.
We literally had to wait until somebody else left. Um,
Damn.
so they really had they did. I mean, it was an A+ job, you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But that's what you have to do. You have to do your homework
Yeah,
because
prepare.
and yeah, because that's how incidents happen. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
you
I
prepare for
got
the
a
worst and
question for
yes,
you. I got a question
for
for you.
him
Is
or
it
for me, or for
for
him or for
you?
me. Oh,
Okay.
me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say cuz when I got a question for cuz. So, and for
Yeah,
you,
but
you
yours is
said you
fine.
keep mentioning Jacksonville. You know,
Uh, okay,
do
so
you know a
little
Sheriff
back.
Daniels? You know a Sheriff Daniels?
Oh man, I mean, I know of Sheriff Daniels. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you know of
Um,
Sheriff Daniels.
I know of Sheriff. I don't know him personally.
Okay.
Um, so I left Miami for good in 1993 when I got married,
Okay.
and so last year in April I came home. So I've been gone for 30 years,
Hmm.
and yeah, married. I drove a truck, uh, had kids, got divorced, stayed there for a little while longer, came home.
Hmm.
But you know, the interesting thing is that I actually was in Jacksonville longer than I've been down here because, like I said, I was gone for 30 years. I left when I was 23, but it gave me an opportunity to really see, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, how the other half lives because my biological mom and my biological father were both born and raised in Jacksonville. So I got a lot of relatives, and now by extension, I have a lot of friends because I've been there for so long.
Mhm.
Um, so being able to come from there and see the things, remember the things that they have there, and come here and seeing how everything changed over the last 30 years, it's been a very, very interesting experience. And that's where I was saying, some of the things that we were talking about, to try and show the kids that there are some positive things that we can do that doesn't involve, trying to get fast money or looking the best or having the best car or any of that stuff. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, those are tangible things. But if you can show a child that, helping somebody or learning a new skill
Mhm.
to be able to, monetize that on that in the future,
Mhm.
then that's one of the things that we can do to get our kids back. It just
Right.
and then, it's funny, I kind of came 360 because I I quit school because I was going to college when I was here, and I wound up getting married, and I was I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back. And I'm a pharmacy technician,
Mhm.
but you know, given that I'm here down here in Florida where people come to retire and die, I will always have a job. And I know that. But the problem is, like I said, our economy is a two income economy. And me being a single person, I'm not making enough, even if I'm staying with my mom, because I still have my own expenses.
Mhm.
But I realize if I can get my degree, which I've been trying to do for the last 30 years, and now I can finally do it, my income will come up. But if I'd have realized that when I was 23, I would have never left.
Right.
You know, so some things, you know, it took me 30 years to learn that, but I got to tell them, hey, it's never too late.
Right.
You might be 62 years old, but it's never too late. If you want to do something to improve your life, or if somebody that wants to improve their life, it's never too late.
Right.
It's only too late if you're dead.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, so
So
going back.
some way, shape, or form, we got to convince our kids that it's actually worth it.
Right.
But we got to show them
Right.
because we can tell them all we want. But until they can actually tangibly see it, they're not going to believe it.
Right. So going back to what BMAC was saying, what you saying, Chef? What about Chef? What name you were saying?
Oh, I
Oh,
was
the
mentioning.
Sheriff Daniels.
Yeah, you saying you know of him, you don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know
You
him
know
personally.
how community him up there
Truthfully, I
in
honestly don't know.
Jacksonville.
And the reason I
Okay.
don't know is because um I spent, let's see, after I got divorced in 2017, then I got evicted in 2018. So 2019 until last year, I basically have been, recovering between COVID and divorce. So for the most part, I've just been staying in my little microcosm so I won't, fall off the
Okay.
edge of the earth.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've and remember I was saying earlier about people having to pay attention and learn about our how we vote and all our justice system and the whole nine, our laws. I'm not exempt from that. Okay, I absolutely hate politics. I ain't gonna lie, but that's not an excuse for me not to know what's going on.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when you say do people respond to them? No, because I didn't pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
trying to I was trying to make sure my fat ass ate. Hey, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be myself and I'm gonna keep it real. So
Yeah,
as
you
I
got to
tell
keep it real
everybody,
on here.
I
there,
feel
On
there's
here,
no
you got to
filter.
keep it real on here.
There's no filter on his mouth. There's no filter on his face. Okay,
You got to always
so
keep it real on here. Be
so yeah,
yourself, but keep it
I am.
real.
Yeah, I'm not exempt from that. You know, and the reason I say that is because most of the stuff that I know now, I learned from my American government class last semester.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm one of those people like, God, I should have learned this earlier. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them out there
Right.
because, and the thing is that, like I said, as they always say, there's no excuse. Not
Right.
knowing is not an excuse, basically.
Right. Right.
So I think, I think that if our kids see us involved and
Mm-hmm.
doing things, and like I said, as I told you on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
your child's first television. Be careful what you broadcast.
Right.
If they see you doing positive things in your community and you're doing positive things to help, other people move along in their lives, including them, because that's your first priority.
Right.
Um, then they're going to want to do that because they say, "Oh, well, Dad is doing it; it must be good,"
Right.
you know. Um,
Okay.
and and it starts from as soon as they can obey you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was I tell this story. My like I said, my son was 4 months early.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so whenever we had to think about how he was developing, we had to subtract 4 months from him. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so when I tell everybody my son walked when he was 14 months old, when you subtract 4 months from that, he would have been 10 months old walking. So that's why I said it's not so much that you tell them, you show
Right.
them,
Right.
and they can see that. And if they can obey you,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you start.
Right.
If they understand what you're saying and they understand, you know, like, hey, go pick that up. They go pick it up. If they're 2 years old, that's when you
Right.
start.
Right.
Because if you raise your expectations, they will come up to them.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. So what I want to say is I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight on Be Yourself and Keeping It Real podcast. That we shutting down at this time 9:30. We probably be back on probably like what today is Tuesday. We might be back on probably Thursday
Thursday
if
sounds good.
possible. Yeah,
Maybe.
Thursday. So we're gonna try to have some type of good topic that anybody people could come in, they could chime in and talk about it or whatever.
Well, thank you guys for coming and
Thank you for coming on, Patricia. Thank you for coming on here, B Mac.
be
And
back.
thank you for coming on here, Timo.
Hey, yeah, Timo.
So we'll see each other. We'll see everybody else Friday, Thursday.
That's right. And
Okay.
just remember, always be
See
yourself.
y'all later.
Keep it real.
Okay, keep it real.